just like to welcome you to our maths class from 13. We'd just like to ask you some questions and for you to give us some feedback on our classroom design.
Good. Okay.
Who do you have to consult to build the classrooms? Like, are you going to ask the kids, the teachers, architects?
The process of building is one. The first thing is you start with, do you have a right to build classrooms? And that's determined initially by the Ministry of Education. So if they are going to fund the additional classrooms, it has to be on grounds that they see as right. So in other words, you've got a building which is collapsing, pretty old and decrepit. We'll give you permission to replace that. And part of the hall, when they pulled down the old hall, part of that was funded by the Ministry of Education. They said, well, this building is old. It's more than 50 years old. It's not going to suit the purposes of the present time. We will give you so many dollars per square metre. That's the first thing. Secondly, if your roll increases, so if the roll goes up, more children come to Meadowbank School, then they will turn around and say, yes, we will give you some money towards building a new classroom. The current rate, I understand, it had been $187,000, it's increased to $192,000. So for each classroom, standard size classroom, they'll give $192,000 towards building a new classroom. A board of trustees can turn around and decide to build extra classrooms if they want to. And if you have a look on the junior side, room 28, which is the prefab, or which is closest the gate. The one that Steptoe's in, that was built in 2003 by the board of trustees. So there were two rooms that were built at that stage. One was room 25, the end of the field, and the one where the house is, or house was, that was built at the same time, and that's the board of trustees. But you have to have permission from the Ministry of Education to do that to start off with. You asked about the design part of it. Once you've actually got permission to build it, you've got to decide what's the purpose of what you're building. So we had money from the Ministry of Education to build some rooms on this on the school. Now remember, they treat us as one school, just like any other school. We might be on two parts, but they consider us to be one school. The buildings we would build on this campus would be quite different to the buildings we built on that campus. So as we were building a building here, we'd build it for big kids, year 5 and 6s, generally speaking, because it'd be attached to this building that's right here, the John Boylan's one. If we're building on the junior side, we're building for little kids. And little children use rooms differently. So for instance, in your classroom, you have desks, they have tables. Some of the classrooms are quite small and the children are small. So you build classrooms differently. And so you have to think about, how are we going to design the room accordingly? Now, at the present stage, most classrooms are a box. Okay? If you have a look at a classroom, it's a box. And in the box, you put certain things. You have to make room for children to sit down and do their learning. New classrooms would have these in. Old classrooms had those in it. So you can work out the vintage of this classroom. It was built in this room was probably built, probably about in the 1970s. So this room here will be more than 30 years old. The heating of classrooms has changed. The type of windows have changed. The insulation has changed. A lot of things have changed because, one, of rules tied to requirements, just like your houses. Your houses have changed. I was at a course on Friday. I wasn't at assembly, you might realise, on Friday. And one of the things that they were talking about was what was it like 20 years ago, what is it like now, what is it like going to be like in 20 years' time. So So when you people are around about 30, what's the world going to be like? One of the things was houses. 20 years ago, the average house was 149 square metres in size. And it accommodated 3.8 people. So usually a mum and dad and probably a couple of, one or two children. Some people have bigger families, that's where the point comes in. Today, the average house is 207 square metres. So it's grown by 60 square metres, the modern house, over to what the old house was like. And there's only 2.6 children in the average household today. So people are having less children. So quite different. Bigger houses, less people. You think about the houses that you have at home. Modern houses, they'll always have 2 bathrooms. There'll be a garage usually attached to the house, or part of the house. You'll have extra bedrooms. But houses are quite different. The old houses had a single bathroom. Quite often the toilet was actually in the bathroom. Quite different how houses are being designed. Schools are the same. We're having to go through this evolution. Well, how do we design things differently? We certainly don't put blackboards in the rooms. Yet every classroom in the school would have had blackboards at some stage. Even this block through here. You go and have a look in there, they have blackboards in the front. And that was only built in 1996. So before these things happened. So we have to think about it. A lot's involved. Who will we ask? We will ask the teachers initially. How do you want to use the rooms? Children may get some say in that. Particularly more so if it's going to be on this side as opposed to that side.
If we had to build on the senior side, where would you build?
Right here.
On the 2-story?
Right. Right where this classroom would be gone. It would be history. And you would